Mm-hmm. All right. We'll give it a couple of seconds just to check that all the audio is working and a few people can join in that. Give my page a refresh. Do you mind just speaking, Sam?
Hello, hello, hello.
We'll have a listen back to that in a second. Wait for a few more people to join. That sounds about right, so I think that's good. All right, then. Welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast. A bit of an impromptu one, but we haven't done one in ages, and we thought it was best time than ever, really, to jump on and talk about what was an absolute bloody brilliant night last night. Me and Sam were both there. Blues versus Newcastle in the FA Cup of the fourth round. Yeah, I mean, where do we even begin with all of it? It was just such an incredible night, wasn't it? Just like how amazing it all was.
Yeah, exactly. I think before the game, what all Blues fans wanted from the game is just us to put on a good advert for ourselves, for other people watching, and I'm sure that it came across well on the TVs like it did in the stadium, because the atmosphere was just amazing, wasn't it? Like, for a minute 1 to minute 90, everybody got behind the players, and the start that we had as well with that Laird goal. I mean, it took me a minute to even realise who scored it, because the
I
ball
know,
just
yeah.
pinged up in the back of the net. And everyone around me was just jumping at that. And yeah, brilliant celebrations for that. And then obviously Newcastle fired back with 2 goals of their own, which we'll get onto and talk about. But that Tomoki Iwata strike for 2-2, wow. Like, what a goal that was. And
We
when they
need
were
a whole
showing it
video
on the
on that,
screen
honestly.
above afterwards as well,
Yeah.
and everyone around was just going, oh, just like gasping at it again. And we pushed Newcastle right towards the end. But then I think their quality shined through a little bit with Joe Willock scoring a nicely taken goal, and Newcastle through to the next round. But by no means did we disgrace ourselves, and it was a great performance considering Newcastle are 2 leagues above. And yeah, a fantastic game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Be sure to get your comments in on the game and everything. Post a few thoughts on what you think. We'll be reading them out on the stream. But yeah, I mean, let's try and go in chronological order. So what time did you get to Birmingham? Because obviously we both come from opposite ends of the country, but travel okay, getting in and everything?
Yes, yeah, travel was great
What?
actually getting in, which was unusual.
Yeah.
Usually there's some sort of problem that we come across, but no, me and my dad got there in good time, went round to my nan's house, like Heights Heath Way, and we had some breakfast with her first of all, and then we had a couple of drinks with my uncle in the fountain, and then walked down to the ground from there. So all in all, the stuff before the game all went to plan, and then once we got to St Andrews, there was quite big queues to get in, so had
Yeah,
to
there was,
navigate
yeah.
that, and a lot of people's like barcodes weren't even working as well, so that's when like the queues really clogged up, and then the stewards or whatever had to like step in. But a lot of them, not gonna lie, lacked a bit of common sense, because surely then they just get let round by the gate area, because where me and my dad were was where like the Bellingham Francis mural is, and they got that bit where you can open up the gate, but then they were trying to send them down right the other end past all these people that are queuing up, so then they had to like barge round them, and then it just creates even more congestion. But yeah, once we got in, it was all fine, and had the JK performance before the game. And not gonna lie, I didn't really hear much of it.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah. Cause,
Yeah,
like,
I don't know if it's like the speakers or whatever.
it must be, yeah. No, I'm absolutely sure of it. I mean, it's tricky because I imagine JK, I know he's done loads of live performances, but, you know, playing in front of a crowd, like playing in front of the Blues crowd, that must be like a completely new experience for him. I know people like UB40 have done that before, but JK, has never done that before in front of like a ground full of Blues fans, so he must have been feeling some nerves. Although it was good though, you know. I mean, it was a bit hard to listen to because of the audio. It was a bit loud, and if we had like proper stadium speakers, you know, that are used for like, I don't know, when ELO went to Wembley, those type of things, you know, you just sort of use those type of speakers, you could probably hear him a little bit easier. But yeah, it was still good though. Like the whole pre-match entertainment was just off the scar. It's 2 words put together. Off the
Off
charts.
the
That
scales
was
and off the charts.
off the scars.
It was both.
It really was both. I was thinking as well with the fireworks, because for weeks I've been seeing down the side. Like, I've got like a perfect view of the city actually, in between the cop and the Gil Merricks, and I've noticed recently that there was like a bit of a scaffolding thing there, and I thought, why is that there? I thought that was just like for general repairs and everything. But obviously, I mean, Adam put this in the chat actually. He was talking about what that all was about, and then he said like it could be the fireworks. You know, you could put them on the roof and that. I was thinking, nah, that's a bit too over the. You know, you can't do that. You know, that'd be too amazing. And then it was like, what's going on? This is like just off the scarts, as like I was saying earlier. Just like
Off the scars.
unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable, really. Newcastle fans think we're dirty with the tackles. They want to try Wrexham at the racecourse. Do you think being an underdog makes us the better atmosphere? Better atmosphere. Goodness me, I'm getting there eventually. Yeah, I think that like it's difficult, isn't it? Because Newcastle were always going to be the better team. But yeah, I know what you mean. It does make a bit for a better atmosphere, doesn't it? It's a bit more.
Wrexham at the racecourse or Stockport Edgeley Park. I think that was up there as well.
I didn't go
in
to
terms of
either of them, though, but I
physicality.
heard that they were I mean the teams were very physical, but yeah, I mean like it wasn't a dirty game at all. Like I didn't come away from that thinking God we were a dirty team, but yeah, that was
No, because like the narrative that came from the Newcastle end was very different to what I thought watching, and like this guy said here about Wrexham at the racecourse and the Stockport game as well. I mean, we've been involved in games where we think the other team is very physical, so that compared to what we're faced with in League One certainly isn't the case. And we've got a comment here, same thing, that says Blues are incredible. You actually forget that we are a League One club. I mean, certainly with that atmosphere, you wouldn't think that we're two leagues below. It was a real throwback to those Premier League days, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, like, I don't know when you properly started going to the Blues, but like, I remember first going in like 2009 and 10 and thinking like back then, like that was sort of like a bit of a false storm, like being a Blues fan when I was growing up because we won loads of games at home. We finished ninth in the season. And it was like an amazing start. And then we won the Carling Cup the next year. And then in that middle bit between, it's been like nothing really. So yeah, to feel like a Premier League team yesterday was like insane, and we lost as well, but I didn't really care at the end of it. I was just happy that we had a great day out. It's been so long since we've had like anything really of that magnitude. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it feels like a sneak preview of what we may be privy to in about 3-4 years if the plan goes to fruition and we end up playing teams like Newcastle on a regular basis and we get those crowds as well. So yeah, I think that could be a real glimpse of the future as to what a match day at St Andrews could look like, especially under the lights with the camera crews there and everything.
100%. Yeah, another comment here from this guy. Do you think Blues will look more like? Oh, and it's gone.
Oh, sorry.
Do you think Blues will look more like we played last night in the Championship because we won't be facing a low block for most weeks? I think so. I think there'll be a lot of teams in the Championship who've been there for a while who will be keen to think that we're a League One team coming up and thinking that might be a easier game and everything. But then we're very well played. I think like it gives like a very good account for ourselves, doesn't it? Like teams can respect us more going forward now.
It was a real standout game, I think, for Jay Stansfield as well. The way that he was dribbling with the ball, and obviously, I was saying on Talksport earlier in the day where he had to compromise his game a little bit in League One because he's getting the ball to feet quite a lot, and a lot of the low blocks that these teams we're facing in League One. But yeah, the way that he played against Newcastle was amazing. He really ran himself into the ground, and it was a shame when he got took off. But I do kind of understand it from the perspective of we're in two other competitions and
you got to
getting Alfie May on for some game time or whatever. But yeah, it was a shame that Stansfield came off. But I really feel like he set an example in terms of his front foot pressing and really rattling the Newcastle defence, wasn't he? I think it was Fabian Schär that was all getting up in his business and saying that he was watching him, and considering that's someone that plays Premier League football week in, week out, done a real good job on him.
Yeah, I mean he just put them under pressure all night, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, everyone did, to be fair. I mean, I think that's where the Newcastle fans were getting a little bit frustrated with the dirty challenges, really. It's just the fact that we were just putting in good challenges. I mean, Clara's just absolutely bodied. Who is it? Is it Willock he does it too?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
He just went flying, didn't he?
Yeah. But I love that about him, and like, he's a good player as well, but having that physicality is fantastic, and it really shows.
Ben Davis can do it as well. I think both of them were amazing in the game, like the way that they handled that pressure and can put themselves about, because I feel like they've got both sides to the game, haven't they, where they're good on the ball and also physical when they need to be as well. So it's a great mixture of both, depending on who you're playing against.
It's going to be hard for Newman to get a game.
Yeah, that's exactly what my brother was saying. He was saying Newman's got to be some player, to come in the team next season.
God.
But, yeah, definitely Pete Bruce era atmosphere.
Yeah, a little bit before my time Bruce was. I think I was more McLeish. My first game was a Steve Bruce game. But yeah, it was more Alex McLeish when the first came. But yeah, those atmospheres when you watch them back on the highlight reels, like they're up there with that last night. I mean, like
with the second city derbies, that it had kind of that vibe to it as well. Because before the game, the Newcastle fans were walking past and they were like, singing that they're off to Wembley and that. But then the Blues fans definitely rebutted that, didn't they, with chants of their own? And then the police all of a sudden made themselves known. So yeah, it had that kind of derby day feel to it, where it's a big occasion
was competitive,
for us.
wasn't it?
And yeah, another comment here actually saying about if Ryan Allsop was in goal, would we have done better?
I want to give a shout out actually to Peacock Farrell because I've been a little bit unconfident in him lately, just because I think he's not very confident in himself. And there's been a couple of games this season where he just comes and flaps at things and everything. But last night, I couldn't say that he was bad at all. I thought he played actually really good. Saved pretty much everything that came at him. I mean, the goals that actually stood in the end, apart from the third one, because obviously that's just a bit of a disappointing one to concede. But the two goals he concedes at first, like, he's not at fault for them, in my opinion. I mean, the first one he literally saves, it's on the line. I mean, like, we'll get into more detail about that in a second, but it's just he saves the first one, even though it does count as a goal, and then the second one it comes across the box, and then realistically we should be defending that a little bit better, but it just happens as it is, and then really the third goal's just how it is, really.
Because I think it's a fair comment to make in terms of like
Mm.
you'd think that all sort maybe that third one as well, just where it like goes between Peacock Farrell's legs, and you're like,
Maybe
could
then,
also
yeah.
have saved that. But I think you get the impression this season, don't you, that Peacock Farrell was the cup goalkeeper, isn't he? In
Yeah.
terms of playing games in, I think the FA Cup he played in every game, isn't he, for us in this run, and also the Virtue Trophy seems to be first choice keeper for that. So it's about I guess keeping both goalkeepers happy, and I'm sure that
100%,
Ryan Allsop will come straight back into the team for that Cambridge game.
He just needs to be a little bit more confident in himself. And I'm sure if he gets that and he shows that as well, because when Allsop comes for catches, he knows that he's going to get it, and you can see it in him. With Peacock Farrell, sometimes I'm like, I can't really tell if you're going to come and get it. It's a bit too if but or maybe. It's a bit like Etheridge at times. Like John Ruddy and Etheridge. Like Ruddy always came for it and got it. Etheridge could never really tell, could you? So I definitely think that he just needs.
Well,
a
seeing
little
as
bit
we're
more of
speaking about goalkeepers, should we tackle this one now?
Definitely that was a goal when it went over the line, but really well played. Yeah, well, it's obviously the area of controversy from the whole game, really. I was surprised to see at half-time how many people are actually saying it wasn't a goal. I was certain at the time when it did cross the line that, the liner had got it right, because obviously it's all in the moment, and I looked over and saw he had his flag up and everything, so I thought, oh, well, he must have seen it, he must have crossed the line. But I mean, like, how could he? Like, with the absence of goal line technology, how can he be so sure about it? Because referees are told only give what you can see, and you'd be absolutely certain about it. There is no way that he can see that, And even if it was actually to be taken to goal line technology, if someone's to recreate the goal or something like that and show that the ball did go over the line, like, even then, you still didn't see it as the way it went in. That linesman cannot give that as a goal. So I'm really disappointed. I mean, the refs had a poor game last night, the officials did, but that one was a particularly shoddy moment, that one, because it set the trend for the game then. I think had that not stood, the referees probably wouldn't have got the slack they did, really. But yeah, it was poor officiating, that was, and it changed the course of the game because they scored not long afterwards as well.
Because the linesman wasn't in line with when
No.
the shot was being taken, in terms of like whether he could see whether the ball was over the line, because he's made that call straight
Yeah.
away. And I watched it back on your vlog, Tommy, and he has straight away put the flag towards Newcastle goal to signal it, and everyone around us didn't think it was a goal. And Peacock Farrell himself, like, you see the way that he celebrated, because he's thinking to himself that he's made a crucial save in the game, and I truly believe that he wouldn't have celebrated like that if he thought the ball went over the line, because he'd have a little bit of like subtleness to it. But no, he's fully gone for it because he knows that he's denied a goal. And I saw it on Match of the Day afterwards that Rob Green, another former goalkeeper, saying that it was never a goal and he wouldn't have celebrated like that had the ball crossed the line. And it's just such a strange decision, isn't it, in the FA Cup, that you do get goal line technology at the Premier League and Championship grounds, but they're not below that. It's just such a strange decision.
It's bizarre, because I swear it's not even in play for Premier League grounds as well. It only comes in the next round, does it? I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, and I still think then it's only for the teams that are in the Premier League and the Championship. So it's a strange decision, because I think they're going to have to change the rules this season about extra time as well, because if they're going to scrap the replays, then at least do 90 minutes and then penalties to give those lower league teams more of a chance of them getting through. So I think there's a couple of decisions that the FA have cocked up with the FA Cup this season, so they may have to change it.
I'd be interested to see what the rules are in terms of putting goal line technology in, because they always say that, the ground doesn't have goal line technology or VAR. So I'd be interested to see, like, what is the requirements, what do you need in terms of, like, the cameras darted about the ground, what's the space that you need it, because you got to think, like, I mean, the main stand's pretty spacious, and even if they just set a camera along the corner flag or something like that, I don't know, but, like, surely they can put stuff in place like that for that, because I thought, I mean, I didn't know before half time yesterday that there wasn't goal line technology in play. So I was looking at thinking, well, oh, the referee must have had like his watch on, it buzzes, then it's obviously a goal. But then it just didn't seem to be. You check on the highlights afterwards, and you think, oh, there isn't goal line technology, so it's pure guesswork at the
I
end.
just presumed that there was. I just presumed that there was goal line
I did
technology. I was
too.
thinking surely that it must have crossed the line.
I mean, Cochrane stood in the way as well. So like, it just he couldn't be certain. That's what I'm absolutely certain of it. He definitely didn't look at that and think goal. He looked at it and went, "What do I do now? Like, I'll just give a goal." That's exactly what he did. I bet my fucking house on it. No, I don't
Yeah,
actually.
well, move away from that before we get too animated by it. What made me happy last night was exactly how physical we were. It proved that we were able to play football in the championship, but are tough as well. Yeah, I certainly agree with that, with the toughish about us. Like people that watch the game, that are my mates that aren't supporters of Birmingham, tuned into that and go, "That's how I want to see football played." Without the whole
Loads of
VAR,
people have said that, haven't they? Yeah.
without the soft fouls. I guess the referee did give quite a few soft fouls, but in our case, as this guy said here about just us putting ourselves about and those tough challenges and really letting Newcastle know that they're in for a game.
Well, there was a few people, weren't there, on social media. Mark Goldbridge was watching it last night, which is a weird thing to think. Mark Goldbridge is a Blues fan, literally just celebrating everything. And then I think Vizir was talking about it as well, saying that he wants the Blues back in the Premier League and everything. It'd be a great atmosphere. And it's the other guy who's the Sports Palace, I think HLTCO or something like that. He was talking about the physicalness of the game, and it's just... fans miss that, and like the Premier League has really robbed that from fans in the last few years. And it was a proper throwback last night. There's loads of people in the comments of the vlog saying all those things as well. It was a proper game, from everything from start to finish. There was no real pauses in terms of like when there was the balls out for a long period of time, apart from when Leonard got injured. But it was always in action. Teams they were just both battling it out. It was wicked to see. And I mean, that's why I like Newcastle, actually. I don't know about you, but like I can't be bothered with Arsenal and those type of teams. When Newcastle make the final, I'm like, I want them to win it. It'd be great to see them do it. I mean, 70 years as well. It's always nice to see a fan base actually win something for once.
There you go. Yeah, and going on to the next comment
Sam,
here
you've
about...
gone on mute.
What?
Has he?
No.
Technical difficulties on Blues Focus. What we do best. Brilliant. You might have to rejoin for a bit. I don't know whether you've kicked something or whatever. But
I don't think I have.
A little bit. Has he gone on mute? Oh no,
I've not changed anything.
Let me check. Hold on, Sam. And everybody in the
If someone can let us know in the comments if my noise is coming through or not, because I've just muted and unmuted myself.
Where's everything gone? Oh, you haven't?
Yeah,
I
can
can't
hear you both
for some reason. That's really strange.
So it's on your end then.
What the fuck? Let me rejoin. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, because I can hear you fine. Well, I'll carry on for the meantime. Read out this comment here about much of the championship teams will attack us, and that's where opportunities for us will attack them will arise. Yeah, definitely so, Jamie. And I mean, if you look at the championship this season and some of the teams that are competing in there, obviously we've seen the game earlier on today with Plymouth beating Liverpool 1-0, and Plymouth were very deep in that game because obviously of the Liverpool attack and the Liverpool pressure. But yeah, I'd say in the championship there is going to be a lot more space for us in behind to attack teams, and I think the Newcastle game is a bit of a preview of what we could expect in the championship, maybe with a couple more additions to the squad and a couple more players back as well, because I suppose we put in that performance last night without the likes of Taylor, Gardner, Hitman and Paxson Ho, who are players that probably would have been involved in the game. So yeah, it leaves me a very, very optimistic outlook on what might come for us next season and seasons to come as well. Moving on to another comment here about taking the momentum through to Tuesday. Well, it would be a bit of a typical Blues thing, wouldn't it, to then lose at home to Cambridge? But I'm optimistic for the game, and I just filmed a preview then with a Cambridge fan talking about their season so far, and they're bottom of League One. They've actually got Gary Monk as their manager, Michael Morrison as captain, so a very heavy Blues contingent in that one. And yeah, hopefully we can follow up the Newcastle game with a victory against Cambridge, but time will tell, I guess. And the players like Alfie May that were on the bench and Lyndon Dykes as well that came on for a little bit of action in the Newcastle game, I imagine will start for the next game. Robbed by the ref yet again. It's happened all season. Yeah, I completely agree with that. We've had quite a few decisions go against us this season in League One, and Chris Davis particularly has been animated by it. I know he's already got a touchline ban this season because he's reached a certain amount of yellow cards, and I think that's more so to do with like the time wasting of teams. But yeah, there's certainly been refereeing decisions that I can point out from this season that have been particularly bad. I mean, you look at the Wrexham game at the racecourse, that was a pretty shoddy refereeing display, and Stockport away as well, where the referee let quite a lot go. So I think there's that fine line, isn't there, between letting things go and actually being decisive as a referee. I'll just check in on Tommy to see if your audio is working. Are you working, Tommy? No, he's still got audio difficulties, so we'll leave him for now. And I'll carry on with another comment here. Every player left everything on that pitch last night, 100% Ian. And it was brilliant to see after the game as well that, you know, the fans stayed behind to clap the players off, and the players were clapping the fans as well, because I feel like both parties recognised the effort that the other put in to make the occasion as special as it was. And after the final whistle went, right down below me, Ethan Laird just collapsed to the floor. Like, he was just planted on the floor, just really catching his breath. And yeah, it was a phenomenal effort from everyone involved, the players and the fans. And yeah, a really good occasion for Blues fans, I guess, to celebrate. Even though we lost the game, it was a good advert for, you know, the direction that we're going to be heading in the next few years.
I'm back, Sam. Can you hear me?
You're back. Okay,
Yes.
Nice one. I was going for
microphone
time there with some comments.
has completely shit itself, honestly. I can't even
Does it?
understand what's going wrong with it. But hopefully you can all hear me still. Yeah, let's crack on.
Right, I'll let you take a couple of comments now, Tommy. Let you pick out a couple.
Yeah, I
got quite
came
a few
back
coming.
and then I came back and I was trying to talk and it kept cutting out again. Where are we up to? Where did you get up to?
So I just got up to Ian. Every player left everything out on the pitch last night. So that was at 7:15.
7:15. Every play. Oh, here we go. Cool. Right, I'm back. Apologies, everybody, but this wouldn't be the Blues Focus podcast without it. Let's have Emza King. True Bunny, remember it. The ground was shaking. I couldn't stop for days. Where was that? Was that on a different comment?
I think they were talking about Ipswich in the semi-final for that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't alive for that, but I mean, watching that game back, it's just absolutely mental with Andy Johnson running around the keeper and.
Yeah, I think it's in reference to this comment here.
Yeah.
Because I watched highlights back of that game, and one thing I'll say about is the pitch.
Oh, it's incredible.
I think the pitch
That's
is a bit better condition now than what it was back then.
Brilliant. Paul Hipkiss, nice to have you on, mate. How bloody hell, Sam.
Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of it, and you're trying to put that comment.
Oh, fucking hell. How far we have come in such a short space of time. Players fighting for us fans, each other and the badge. So many players have put their shirt on that shirt who couldn't care for the last 13 years. I mean, it's just the story of the Blues for the last 13 years. We've had so many different players through the door and everything, so many different managers. So, like, we're nailing it at the moment. We really are, from everything off the pitch, from, you know, Tom Wagner and everybody. I had a chat with him in Bainsey's bar yesterday before we went in. Really lovely bloke, really down to earth guy. Just comes over, had a chat. You know, nothing too pretentious. You know, he's just being like a normal bloke. You know, and yeah, I mean, like, what else can you say other than just it's about time? You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, I think the season that stands out for me, I don't know about you, but it's that one with John Eustace, the first season. You know, the 22-23 seasons, because we were, you know, sort of expected to go down. And the owners hadn't come in by then. And it was just all, you know, nothing was going anywhere. So, like, after all of this, we've actually got something that's going someplace. And it's about time, you know, because, like, 13 years. I mean, like, how old were you 13 years ago?
Well, 13 years ago would have been, what, 10 years old. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming for, yeah, performances and reactions from players like this. And you talk about that season there with John Eustace. I remember before he got appointed as manager, you know, no manager with a reputation would have come near us with a barge pole, right? Because of the way that the club was being run, as you said, bookmakers' favourites to go down. And I really feel like John Eustace helped to bring back that mentality of, you know, us against the world kind of thing. And now we've took it to a whole new level, really, because we've got the owners and we've got the ambition and we've got the money to spend as well. So, yeah, I suppose that was, you know, the start of it. And then this is just a continuation with Chris Davis as manager. And I feel like he's someone that has done a superb job this season, and the fans have really took to as well. And the way that he speaks in press conferences as well is
You're a big fan
really
of
nice
his,
to
aren't you?
see.
Are you a big fan of his?
Oh yeah, 100%. Someone that I think's got a really good future in the game. In terms of, you know, if he moves on from Birmingham, I can definitely see him get a Premier League job. But for now, I'm very happy with him at the club, and hopefully he stays for the long term.
I was going to ask that a bit later, but it might be a good subject to move on to actually, because Postecoglou obviously is in trouble at the moment being the Spurs manager. And Davis was on TalkSport a couple of days ago talking about Postecoglou in the second leg against Liverpool, and they lost that pretty badly in the end. I mean, they didn't even register a shot on Zaku. I mean, like with the game last night, does that raise Davis's profile in a way that bigger teams might try and pinch him?
Potentially, it's a
Yeah.
difficult question because you don't want to answer it in the way that yes, he is getting attention because we kind of like him as our own, don't we? And the way that he started off this season, having not been a main man in charge of a team before, and I suppose in that respect it was a little bit of a gamble. But we heard about the process that the Birmingham board took to get a new manager in, and the amount of people that they interviewed, and the amount of like I suppose managerial CVs that they looked over as well, and they really made sure that they picked out the right guy. And it looks like it's going very well at the moment. And obviously, we know about his background, with Celtic and Leicester and Liverpool and all that. So he's certainly got a good pedigree in the game in terms of being involved at some big clubs. And now he's implementing his own ideas with what he's learned from top managers.
Mm. Well, fingers crossed he stays then, because it'd be devastated to lose him. But I don't think he would. I still think though that after all, that's if Tottenham did come in, I think he would probably. Knighthead have got that opportunity to continue with him, and he might not be ready for it as well, like there's other managers in his position that have rushed into it before, like Graham
Jump
Potter
the
and
gun.
people. Yeah, and they've gone into a big job and they weren't quite ready for it yet. So hopefully, if one of the big teams do suddenly come knocking for him, then I think we should have the courage to say no, he's going to stay here for a bit, and I think he should have the courage as well. Obviously, being from a Blues fan's perspective, but still, like I'm hopeful that he would decide to stay at us as well, because of those reasons. Considering we've got a game against Cambridge Tuesday, do you think we'll be leggy and tired? Because if we drop points, it will take the shine off the Newcastle display. I think we might rotate the team. I think we'll change up some things. Williamson made a bit of an appearance the other night, earlier last night, so I think he'll come in. Whether we play Dykes, maybe even Djukovic. I mean, Cambridge, like you were saying, Sam, they are bottom of the table. So I don't know. It depends what type of team we're going to put out. I think we could almost move into a bit of a maybe a 4-4-2 for that game. Just play two strikers and get Jay to come in on with Dykes, and just play more of a straightforward game. Because I think Cambridge are going to try and rough us up a little bit, because if we know Gary Monk teams, then they are going to play like that typical style. So I don't know. I think we will win, obviously. Just keep on winning, really. I'm kind of residing to the fact that just as long as we keep winning, and I'm not too fussed about a big win anymore, because we've gotten past all of the difficult teams apart from Wickham. We've played everyone now, really, so I feel like just keep winning, keep getting them on the board, and that's all that matters, really. So I won't be bothered with a 1-0 win, just as long as we win, and whatever team we play. If we look a little bit leggy, then we probably will, because we've ran our hearts out against Newcastle last night. So what will be really. So hopefully that Cambridge performance is just a win, really, and we can keep on moving forward and then rest and recover as the weeks go on, because we've got a busy few weeks coming up. We just need to make sure that everybody's still in good fitness for the next few games.
Yeah, I imagine the few of the players that started for the Newcastle game won't start for the Cambridge game, and unfortunately, one of them is going to be Mark Leonard, which I was gutted to see his injury. Watched it back, and some people were saying that it's a red card or whatever. I think it's just really unlucky, isn't it? The way that Lewis Miley's stud lands on Mark Leonard. I don't think there's malice in it as such. It's just really unlucky for Mark Leonard, and such a shame that he had to be brought off in the way that he did, because he was having a good game and a continued spell in the team as well, because of the injuries to Paik and Iwasa at different times. He's now came in and kind of made that holding midfielder role his own. I feel like he's done really well in the time that he's been in the team. So real shame for Mark Leonard. Hopefully he's back soon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree the challenge wasn't too malicious or anything as well. It just matched the pace of the game, really. It was just like players were going in for strong challenges, and that was just one that came off a little bit more harshly than the other ones. But yeah, just a shame, really. And I feel like I don't know how long he might be out for, but just as long as it's not too long, really, because we could do with a couple of midfield backups, really. But there again, as well, we can always rotate and swap in players. Kieran Dowell played brilliantly last night, I think. A really good, tidy player. And then Iwata was fantastic. I mean, the goal was just absolutely spectacular. And then when Paik is fully back as well, ready to get rolling as well, we'll just slot him in. He's just a quality player like that. He's a great international player.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't think the goal had been given. The linesman didn't give the correct signal for a goal. I don't know. Like, there's so many changes to like officiating rules nowadays that I can't keep up.
Because
Like,
I watched back your vlog and you were like the only person saying like he's give it. And I
yeah,
suppose is
that's
that
me
maybe
being a
because of your
referee.
refereeing
That
background?
is. Yeah, I mean that's like honestly like it probably was because he's just getting the attention of the referee. Really, that's all. Really. Um, I mean, like, yeah, it was bizarre. I really couldn't understand it. You know, it's just, I, I think like had it had been like sort of a waving flag or something like that, I think that might have been like something else. I think there might have been a foul or something. But I think it's the correct decision because obviously the decision was given in the end. And they're all mic'd up nowadays as well, so they'll be talking to each other over the tannoy system. But yeah, I think that they were going to give it in that way. I mean, whether it was a goal or not, we'll argue that some more. But let's have a look. How many of the lower league teams got let down by poor officiating this weekend? Apparently, were you watching the City game yesterday? Apparently, that was a bad game as well for
I
the
watched the
officials.
first half of it.
Was it? Was that the second half when I think City scored the second half, didn't they?
Yeah. So it's 1-0 Leighton Orient at half time.
Mm.
And then, yeah, Man City sort of got back into it in the second half. So I'm thinking that, yeah, the second half is when that decision came because I didn't see it. But yeah, it's a shame, really, because I mean, the game earlier where Plymouth knocked out Liverpool, that's a penalty, isn't it? And then I was sitting next to my dad watching that game, and my dad went, our referee wouldn't have gave that yesterday.
What do you think to the Anderson decision? Like, we went down and everything. Do you think it's a penalty?
Yeah, but, well, wasn't it flagged as offside or something?
Oh, I have no idea. Like that annoyed Jack. That did because he was looking at the referee and he was giving. I think he was giving a corner or a goal kick or something, and then the
I
official
think
was giving.
one of the decisions for me, sorry, I just while it's fresh in my head, is the one where Dan Burn got a yellow card, right, and Scott Wright then is 2-on-1, and Dan Burn's coming with a sliding tackle, and Scott Wright's kind of rode the challenge, but then it is a yellow card to Dan Burn, but the referee's blown up straight away to then give a yellow card to Dan Burn, and Scott Wright's got a fantastic chance, and the ref just hasn't let the play go, and it's just such a shame, really.
When was that? Was that first half?
Yeah, it was like literally first few minutes,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was one of those moments where it's like if the ref would have let play go on another 2-3 seconds, then Scott Wright could have played a pass through. But yeah, just one of those things, I guess. And don't want to dwell too long, I guess, on the refereeing decisions. But yeah, I love conspiracy. Having to bring that up.
Convinced these decisions have been so deliberate they've screamed for VAR in the lower divisions. I mean, I agree. You know, they're shady decisions in that way. They don't look very convincing, that's for sure. Whether it's a cover up, I don't think that's quite true because you know no one's got particular, a particular interest. I hope as an official, but you know, as well though, VAR in lower divisions, nah, not for me. You know, because like, I mean, yes, it would make decisions a little bit better. I mean, like a little bit, because the Isak goal that was ruled out for offside against Arsenal the other night, I mean, had VAR not been in place for that game and people were looking at it back, where they would have gone, yeah, he's onside, because from the naked eye, when he's looking like that, he looks onside, doesn't he? But because VAR then comes into place, it's then he's offside. So I think that in terms of like when people say, oh, VAR makes referee decisions better, I ain't too sure because it's too precise in that way. So I quite like it sometimes. I mean, like, again, from the naked eye last night when the Willock equaliser from, Peacock Farrell saving it and everything, like, to the naked eye, he keeps it out. Whether he does keep it out or not from VAR or goal line technology, it's like that, honestly. So, it's just little micro things, but I think when VAR is not in place, it encourages referees to get better, and they should be getting better, because if the linesman stood over there and not in play, and he's not keeping up with it, which God knows how he isn't as well, because like literally the last man is Alex Cochrane, and he's still far behind him, so it should make referees and linesmen and all officials, it should make them get better, because decisions like that last night puts a bad name on them, because the referees have worked hard for it and everything, but one bad decision and then you're the most hated man in town, really.
Yeah, definitely. And you think about the Friday game as well, Man United against Leicester, where Harry Maguire's offside for that goal. And I think one of the reasons why the ref kept the flag down in that situation is that, like in the Premier League where they let things go, don't they? And then they blow offside like 10, 15 seconds later, even though you can obviously see the player is offside, just for the whole thing about VAR. And now they haven't got VAR, they can't then rely on it to go back on. So they're being less decisive about their choices. And I genuinely think the linesmen just kind of forgot that VAR's not existed.
Well, I'm good friends with linesman, actually. Actually, no, I rephrase that. My dad's good friends with one of the old Premier League linesmen.
Is he the one
And
that
he
got knocked out by
was,
the corner
he
flag?
was, yes. Little fun story that was. And he was on the line for Derby versus Chelsea back in the FA Cup a couple of years ago, and they score from an offside position. Chelsea do, and he's looking, and he's not even paying attention. He's just a complete lapse of concentration out of nowhere, and he suddenly looks up and they've scored from it, and he was like, "Oh, he just puts the flag up like that. He just doesn't know because it's just one of those
Whoa.
things." And he looks back, he was completely onside, like so far onside. It was hilarious. So he's just like, shouldn't have given it. I should have been paying better attention, and then he learns from that mistake, which I think is a bit difficult being official sometimes because nobody supports the officials when they go there, obviously, but still it should encourage them to get better because that linesman, even if it did cross the line, he's not based that off anything. He's just completely gone
It has
blind
to be
on it.
100%.
Exactly, yeah, it's absolutely.
Tom Brady would have been proud of the physical takedowns.
Yeah. Christoph
Certainly.
Glover reminds me a bit of an American footballer, actually. He's got that sort of look to him, hasn't he? I think it's the hair, actually. I could see a lot of Americans wearing that hair playing American football.
I mean, it would have been nice to see Tom Brady at the game, but obviously tomorrow is just the small matter of the Super Bowl. So,
I mean, he was
I'm actually staying in America for that. Great question here, actually, from Paul. What are your top 3 goals you have seen so far in your lives at St Andrews? I'll start with you, Tommy.
Well, number one is that Iwata goal. I've never seen a better goal ever.
Same.
I mean, that's what I was talking about, actually, when I was walking out the stadium last night. I was saying to my dad, like, I've always struggled to think of what the best goal I've ever seen live is, but that one takes the net off, honestly, quite literally. But, like, it was amazing. I didn't even know what I was thinking beforehand. I think I was just thinking, well, I know he's going to shoot because it's Iwata and he's got a great chance of goal and he never gives up those opportunities. But to see it fly in the roof of the net, I mean, I thought he was going to go bottom corner from the way he was sort of angling his shot, like with the arm coming up as well. It looked like he was going to sort of arrow it towards the bottom corner. But he just absolutely rifles it. He puts Michael Kiftembel to shame, this guy does. I mean, that's how good he is. Like, that's an accolade that not many people can do. I mean, like, or even like Tony Yeboah or someone like that. Those type of players who've just got such an amazing strike on them. Like, he's so, like, when you watch it back as well, the ball just like spins perfectly. It's like it's so straight and it doesn't swerve in the air or anything. Pope's just got no chance at all. It's like absolutely incredible, and he scored some bloody good goals this season. I saw on Twitter someone was asking, there's a good chance that could be the best goal in all top 4 divisions. Is there anybody better? And there was people arguing the John Duran goal and everything, which is fair enough because it is an absolutely incredible strike, even though it is for the Vile. But like, I mean, that Iwata one, I don't think anybody could hit it that as sweetly as that, I mean, like, there's some great players in the world, but fuck me, he can hit a ball like no one I've ever seen before. It's just incredible. And I think the occasion as well, because it was us, not Villa, playing Everton. We're a League One team playing the top Premier League team. It's the first big game we've had in absolutely years. It's just, the whole thing about it was just absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant. I can't really get my head around how it actually did shooting, because usually for Blues it just either it's the bar or flies over, or it doesn't even count because the linesman called it for offside or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, well, what other 2 goals are in your list?
Oh, goodness me. We haven't scored many great goals over the years, actually. And he's saying it's St Andrews as well, so not even the ones we've scored away.
I'll chuck one in there for me. Craig Gardner semi-final against West Ham.
I think it might have, something like that might have to be, just because, again, for the occasion.
Yes,
it's not the best of goals, is it? But I think
the occasion certainly rises, I think, the stock of the goal, and it's one that I've watched plenty of times back, and being in the stadium live for that, I think, gives it that extra sentimental value.
Well, a guy here actually saying Seb Larsson's free kicks were a banger. He scored a few, actually, in this 07-08 season, actually. I think the one against Liverpool probably stands out. But I wasn't there for that one, actually. I was a bit too young at the time. I wasn't going as regularly as I do now. I don't know, actually. Probably Gardner's goal against West Ham.
Holton Cole scored a brilliant goal in that game for West Ham as well, if you remember.
Does that make the
technically,
list?
he didn't say for which team, so maybe them 2.
Yeah, well, there was still Carlton goal on the list. Ronaldo's goal against us, or Henry.
We've got a Newcastle fan here, actually, as well. Team fan here. Feel for you guys. No way that was a goal for 1-1. Yeah, well,
yeah.
Thank you for that. But
Up the two.
unfortunately, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah. No, I gotta say as well though. I mean, there are probably not many Newcastle fans in the stream, but fair play to you guys. You know, you bring in absolute loads of fans and everything. It's great as well because like when you do draw a team like Newcastle, it's like, oh, that's a proper tie. That is. You know, I was happy.
Two
Like
proper
when,
clubs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they brought about 5,000-6,000 in the end. Just filled out
Mm.
that whole bottom of the Gilmerick. And you know, like they're a great club and everything, and the players they've got nowadays, you know, it's just spectacular, really. So I really wish them the best for the Carabao Cup final. I really do
Yes.
hope they win it. I've not got really anything about against Liverpool. I do against Arsenal. I don't like Arsenal, but yeah, they deserve to win it. I mean, 70 years without winning a major tournaments, it's like they deserve it. They really do, and it'd be great to see as well. It really would be.
Oh, it's a good shout here from Paul. Terrell versus Ipswich. Is that one where the Kushak launches it, doesn't he? And it doesn't.
Yes, that's that
It,
one.
it
Yeah,
literally doesn't hit the ground until it goes in the net
yeah, yeah.
from one side to the other.
And then Tommy Mooney against Norwich in 2001.
Mooney
That's a
versus
great goal,
Norwich.
yeah.
I think that's that's one from outside the box, isn't it? Where he just whacked it.
Yeah, some good ones on there, Paul. I like that. I mean, the Terrell one, yeah, I did completely forget about that one. He scored some bloody good goals for us. He did. We're very
What
good.
about Omar Bogle against Stoke?
Oh yeah, of course. That's an absolute belter. That
When
is.
Jack
How did I
Butler
forget
just
about
doesn't
that?
move. He just does not
Oh.
move a muscle.
Only ever scored one goal for us. I mean, that's one way to do it. Fair play to him.
And what a
That's
goal
absolute
it was.
belter. Yeah, there's a few actually now I think of it. Like Jude's goal, I suppose that's quite an historic goal, isn't it, against Stoke? That was pretty amazing. And then maybe Bailey's goal against Middlesbrough as well, just again because of the limbs at the end and everything.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
That
was a
that,
good
that is
one.
probably one of the most I've celebrated a Birmingham goal. I mean, when you look back at that like time, I mean, there wasn't much to celebrate, was
Oh, I know,
there?
yeah.
So,
It's
so I
just
got-
so
got
blues,
hold on
that
to
is, honestly.
something.
Throwing away a 1-0 lead until the 90th minute and then winning it. It's like,
Oh, we dominated that
I
game
know,
as well.
yeah.
Like I remember that where we were just having shot after shot. And I think it was Vialba, wasn't it, that scored the
yeah,
first goal for
Fran
us?
Vialba.
Fran
What a good
Vialba.
player he was. Just didn't fit into the team, did he? It was a shame.
Tamoki doesn't do tapping. Proud of his performance last night. Chris Davis seems to be getting the best out of Laird. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Ethan Laird as well because I think for me, like up there with Christiansen, he's a contender for most improved player from last season. And I really feel like Ethan Laird has benefited from Chris Davis's coaching because Laird last season, like he was kind of in and out of the team, wasn't he? I think partly because of injuries, but then also Cody Drame was at left back as well, right back as well, and he was doing pretty well in that position. And a lot of Blues fans, I remember, wanted us to sign him for next season, but that didn't pan out. And Ethan Laird, now kind of the regular starter, isn't he, at right back for Blues? And obviously with the system that we play, it gives him a lot of freedom to go forward. And I feel like that's what he's strongest at, isn't he? Really creating those chances going forward and, you know, making a nuisance himself like going forward. But then also defensively, a lot of aerial duels that he wins as well, which is quite
does,
surprising
yeah, he
for
won a lot
someone
last
the
night.
stature of Laird. But he's got a great leap on him. And yeah, one of those players again that last night put himself about physically and didn't shirk under the pressure of the game. And yeah, can certainly hold his head high.
Yeah, I think he's really improved within even the last few weeks. You know, like that goal, the game he had against Wigan was absolutely spectacular. You know, just getting up and down that right hand side just caused Wigan all sorts of problem all day, and he was as well yesterday. And to score 2 goals within a couple of months, I mean, like he hasn't scored for us since until that point, and to score 2 off the bounce, you know, it shows the confidence comes, you know, in those type of players as well. I feel like last season he might have been a bit of a victim to those type of things, you know, when like the team's doing shit and he's trying his best to do keep the fans on the side of the players and everything, but you know he couldn't do that by himself, and you know it's got to be a team effort, and he is such a team player as well. You can see it in everything that he is. He's so likable as a bloke as well, you know. He's so animated and so happy about everything, you know. He's got a great, you know, he's a great personality. You think if you wanted to be in a dressing room with someone, Ethan Laird is that bloke, isn't he? He's just like, you look at him and think, I'd love to be in a team with you. Maybe in a five-a-side team a few years later, man. That'll be quite funny. Ethan Laird in the
Yes,
Blues
yeah,
focused
certainly.
five-a-side team.
I mean, you see how tired the Birmingham players were after those 90 minutes. I think if I was playing five-a-side in a team that involved Ethan Laird and some of the Blues players, I'd be tired after 5 minutes.
Yeah, fucking hell. I'd run ragged by the fucking guy here, honestly. Jesus.
Thinking about the attendance, I think this is something for you, Tommy.
Yeah, it
Surprised
was
the
27,000, I think, in the end.
It's like 27,900 and something, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you could call it 28 then. I don't know what the full attendance is at the stadium anymore, because they took a few seats out down by the bench, and they've given more space in some of the corporate areas as well. So I don't think that the attendance is 30,000 anymore. So if it's nearing 28,000, you would argue maybe 1,000 for some of the security things that probably need to be in place. I think like maybe there was a little bit of segregation along the cop side towards the end there, and maybe a few people didn't turn up as well. So I don't know. I think it's one of those really. And there were a lot of people in the gangways as well. So I don't know whether there were issues with ticketing in terms of like people were just being let through and then the tickets weren't being properly scanned. So obviously that wouldn't go down on the list. So that probably wouldn't put the number up to 28 or something. But I don't know. It depends. Yeah.
There was issues getting to the toilet at half time. That's what I would say. It's like the Titanic. It's like, everyone like crammed in one space, like going from side to side. Just like chaos.
Yeah, I remember going to Blues Preston a few seasons ago away, and you could definitely tell people that got in without a ticket because there was more fans in the bits behind the stadium than there were people stood in the fucking seats. Honestly, like I came down, it was full. That whole end at Preston was completely full of Blues fans. Come down and everything outside is just full as well. Like, who the fuck's let the gates open here? Honestly, just trying to get for a piss that day was absolutely monstrous, like you say, trying to get get off the Titanic. Honestly,
yeah, it nearly took me like the whole of half time just to
yeah. There's a lot of people there last night. We're not used to it, are we, as fans? I think, as you know, particularly in the last 10 years, like we're just used to having nobody in the ground and we could just
it's like just going to a festival.
I know, yeah, literally.
Especially with the light show and that at the start.
Oh god.
Right. Oh, we're getting a lot of goal things in here. Actually, a lot of ones actually here from away games.
A lot of Kevin Francis goals.
This is a good one. Even Sanchez against Cardiff.
Was that at St Andrews? Because that's what Paul was asking.
No, that was at Cardiff.
That was at Cardiff. Yeah, it's hard to remember some good goals that have been scored at the Blues in the last few seasons. The ones that I think
that was COVID season. I think.
Yeah, in the green kit wasn't
where like Sanchez just slalom around the Cardiff players and then put it in. Fantastic goal. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh yes. The best.
Yeah, definitely. Ian here. Ian on that one there. I love the fact that the Newcastle player squared up to Stanner and then 2 seconds later he had 3 or 4 players backing him up. That's what I'm talking about, that team mentality. Like I think Ethan Laird, when we're going back to him last season, when he's trying to like doing the crowd thing, do you remember that last season? Like that was, it looked as like, it was like a desperate sort of thing from him because he's just trying to get something from the crowd and just trying to get try and bond something together. But he doesn't need to this season because everybody just backs him up immediately. And when Stansford went in for that challenge, which was never a foul, by the way, honestly, I can't believe like some of the officiating with that last night. It was just ridiculous. Like, and also as one, I can't remember which one it was now, but Stansfield, he was in an altercation with one of the players. I can't remember his name. I think it was Osuola. Osuola.
Yeah, Osula. Yeah.
Osula, that's it, yes. And he went into the advertising boards after he just ran around him and fell over. And then the ref books him for it. So I honestly have no idea. But yeah, I love that camaraderie really with all the players and everything. You know, it's great to see because you don't even need to say it to them, you know, or even just mention it because you know that's what's happening. You know, you can tell that Stansfield's being picked on by some of their players because he's good. Me and my brother shouted that actually when he did go down. He says, because he's better than you. That's what he kept shouting. And it is, you know, the Newcastle players were getting frustrated with that, you know, and they didn't want him to run the show really because he was in the first few minutes as well. He was really getting at them, pushing them, getting in on them and everything, putting some good challenges in as well and winning some throws. You know, he was just doing like the first few minutes because obviously we took the lead within the first minute. But yeah, like we were such a team last night and it shows, you know, because everything was just all in one favour. We weren't going into the game thinking, with some people thinking, I really don't really care today. You know, the team wants to, we all wanted to win. We all wanted to be a part of the same thing. So it's bloody great to see.
Yes. I'm trying to find a comment actually about Taylor Gardner-Hickman. Someone asked whether he's injured or not. I want to ask that to you, Tommy, because he wasn't in the squad, was he?
No, I don't think he's injured. I don't remember him being injured.
Gardner-Hickman. Because obviously he's just now signed a deal with us to, you know, come to St Andrews permanently, which I think is a fantastic transfer to complete and one that a lot of Blues fans wanted, especially off the back of that Rotherham game where I think that was his best game in the Blues shirt and someone that has really, you know, brought into the fans and the place as well because his history, he was at Bristol City. I suppose he wasn't getting too much of a look in there and then he was an academy player at West Brom as well, but now he seems to have found a proper home at Birmingham and the fans are really taking to him and he's someone that, definitely puts himself about and would have fitted into the game yesterday. It's a shame that he wasn't there, but someone that is a fantastic addition to the squad long term.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's a player I'm really happy that signed on a deal, because like I think I would have loved Chris Davis to have come in at the same time. Not Chris Davis, Ben Davis as well. If it had done both at the same time, that would have been brilliant. But we still got him, just haven't got him on permanent yet. But yeah, top signing, really great. I think he's been absolutely quality. And when we talk about Ethan Laird, actually, he's probably given Ethan Laird a bit of a run for his money, particularly at the start of the season. But I don't know, he's just very versatile in that way, isn't he? He can play midfield, he can play out wide sometimes as well. He did against Stockport. He's a fantastic player, and if he wants to crawl back onto the pitch and piss off the Rotherham manager a few more times, then yeah, you're more than welcome to. It's very funny.
You always need players like that in your team, don't you? Just utility players
yeah.
that regardless of where you're going to play them, they're going to put themselves about. Kind of like David Davis, because there was a time, wasn't there, under Gary Rowett where he got put on the right, didn't he? And he
did,
still played well there, as well as centre field, and sometimes just in behind the striker, making those late runs.
It's just like you would probably, in old-fashioned football, you probably would give him like that sort of number 4 role, really, just the guy who can just do anything, really. Like, just stick him in that middle bit there and he just run the show, really. So yeah, I think that's that sort of mentality that he's got, really, when he plays for us. It's great to see, it really is.
Definitely. A lot of goals away from home, isn't there? Cameron Jerome against Liverpool. I actually remember watching that at home, because the Premier League used to be on ESPN, didn't it? It was like a channel
I
that
remember
existed
watching
back
it on
then
that.
had Premier League rights. And yeah, I remember watching it on there, and one of those goals that I think of when I think of the Premier League times. And Cameron Jerome was someone that missed quite a lot of big chances in front of goal. I remember like it was a bit of a running joke with my dad saying like, "Oh, Jerome's not going to score this one, not going to score that one."
Jerome.
And I suppose in that season where we finished ninth, if we had like a better striker, then we could have I think finished even higher, because the defense was so good back then. Like the fact that none of those defenders went to the World Cup as well.
Yeah, he was a good striker, to be fair to him, though, and he was our top scorer for that season. But yeah, you would have liked to have thought that if he just had a little bit more money, or a little bit more of the persuasion to get maybe a couple more strikers at that time, he would have been maybe second choice or anything, and we probably could have pushed a bit higher. But yeah, it's just how it was, really. He was a good striker, though. I really liked him.
Got a couple of free kicks here. Granger against Man United. That was when Birmingham were round about the top 4 position, I think. I remember looking back at the archives at that. And I think that was the game where we done the who to Cristiano Ronaldo as well.
Yeah. I think as well, I don't remember what time that was. I definitely didn't start going at that time. Granger was a little bit before my time going the Blues. But I'm pretty sure that's his last ever game for Blues, that goal is. Because I think he got badly injured, really. Paul might remember that a little bit better, actually. I'm pretty sure that is his last ever game for us, though. Because, what a way to bow out, like if Iwasa was to never play for us again, hopefully, fucking touch wood. But, still, like, if he bows out with that, then that's some way to go, that is.
Another free kick. I don't think it's a free kick. I think it's one where he run through, didn't he? It was like when we got promoted to the Premier League, one of those decisive games. And he takes his shirt off afterwards, doesn't he? And like waves it around. Yeah, great goal that was.
Quality,
yeah. Yes, David Davis against Villa, 2016. I was right in the bottom row of the Tilton for that one. So I don't know if I said the story in here before, but just like when that goal went in, and it was almost in slow motion, wasn't it? The way that it just trickled past Galini and went into the net, and then just all the fans that were above us just like crumbled down, and people that were like 5 rows above me and my dad ended up being on the same level as us. So that was probably one of the biggest celebrations I've seen, and probably the best atmosphere at St Andrews I've seen since, I guess, that Newcastle game, where you kind of put it on par with that, don't you, for like definitely. A second City game.
Interesting question here from Ian, actually asking if
sorry.
if we do get to Wembley, do we stick with Peacock Farrell or do we go back to Walsall? That's an interesting one. Where are you on the fence with this? Because I'm not too sure. I would have said before last night, definitely Allsop, because I think he hasn't really provided anything. But I feel like last night, I think he made a good account of himself, and if you can keep that up against lesser opposition, I think he can. I think we should give him a go, really, because it's good as well. It's good for the team, because like it's always good to have competition between the two. But and also to build up somebody else's confidence, you've got to give him games. And I think Peacock Farrell is going to grow into that if he keeps on playing the way that he does, the way he did last night. So I would give it to him. I would, And if it doesn't work, then I don't know. Just as long as we do make Wembley, that's the only thing that I'm.
It was just your brother's reaction to when he saw that Peacock Farrell was starting goal. That was my exact reaction as well.
I think a lot of us.
Which is kind of harsh to say, but yeah, it's only the truth.
Yeah. No, I think we should give it him. If he gets his confidence back up, like if just as he looks confident as well, then I think he should definitely play, because Allsop don't want to be overworked too long as well. I think he's a good first choice to have in the League One.
Stern John scored a beautiful Orboski style chip against Portsmouth. Got disallowed.
Wouldn't that happen a few years ago as well with Pedersen and Bournemouth? I swear that was like he did that.
I remember there was a goal that got disallowed towards the end. This was like going back some years. I think it was Jukovic against Middlesbrough, when we thought we'd got a winner in the last minute. But what happened was that the Middlesbrough physio ran on the pitch. So then the referee had to stop the game because the physio was on the pitch, and we were like on the break and that. And then the referee's blown up just as Jukovic has put the ball in the net. And that's one of those decisions that sticks in my head that I'm still angry with, and I think I need to let it go.
Fucking hell, honestly. EFL refs, is there anything worse, honestly? How the hell can they even do that? A couple of people
Boy Blue.
Boy Blue, Jay, love to have you back in the chat again, man. We still need to meet up for a game. It's been bloody a season now.
Yeah, we need to get him on as a guest on the podcast as well. I think that'd be brilliant.
One day we'll get him on. We need to do more collaboration stuff with All Blues channels. I mean, like the Paul's in the chat today, Jay's in as well. Guys, we need to do something together. Honestly, like it's been years since we've known each other now, so we'll definitely do some stuff together soon. Get some big projects going and everything. So it'd be great to have loads of different people. We've got some ideas in the bank on the channel and everything.
And it's nice to see after that Newcastle game as well, all these different accounts, posting their experiences of the game, and the videos and the vlogs and that. It's just really good to see that everyone now is on the same page and heading in the right direction, and all this new content that's coming out that I certainly enjoy watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you going Tuesday? He also says, yeah, of course. Are you going Tuesday, Sam? You're probably not, because
I'm not going Tuesday. I was there last Tuesday, the Stevenage game. I was undercover in the North Stand for that one, because I actually live 15 minutes away from the Stevenage ground, so it's very easy for me to get to, and I've got like a few mates that from the area as well. One of them is a Stevenage fan, and they were winding me up during the game saying that it's just the Birmingham team you saying is amazing, because it was going longer and longer and it was 0-0, and they were saying, oh, it's going to go penalties, trying to wind me up. But Jay Stansford scored the decisive goal for that one,
and it was at that point
it was very hard not to jump up and celebrate in that North Stand. Very hard. Like I went up like half a second and then put myself down.
Had to maintain your composure.
Yes. Yeah. Maintain my composure. That's a great performance that day.
Like James Bond in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still no loss to Sunday in the FA Cup quarters. Millwall got to the final. I remember my dad saying about some FA Cup stories. I'm sure it's the same for you as well, Tommy.
Oh, yeah, there's been some annoying ones over the years. I mean, that one against Bolton back in 2011, I thought, we just won the Carling Cup as well. I thought, fucking hell, like, if we made it to Wembley twice in a season, that would have been absolutely mental, that was. I mean, like, Newcastle as well must be thinking that, because with the game last night, obviously there's 2 extra rounds before you get to the semi-final now, isn't there? Because there's the 5th round and the quarter-final. So they must be thinking that, because there is a chance that they could make the semi-finals, because they are a very good team. I mean, like, even their B team last night, there was a guy in the comments who was trying to have a joke and everything, saying, like, you've only lost slightly to our B team, which is fair enough, because, again, we are just a League One team, and if we were to play their full-strength team, they would have fucking murdered us. But, like, as well, though, Newcastle do have to think, like, if it does come to those sort of games, how do they weigh it up? Because if they don't beat Liverpool in the final, which is a very big possibility, even though I do want them to win it, how hard do they push in the FA Cup? Because it can be tricky. It can be tricky, because it depends who they get in the next round. City are still in it. Liverpool are out, obviously. But there's some tricky teams in there as well, so they might get a few other ones. Who knows, really? Did Villa beat Tottenham in the end? I haven't checked.
I know
I've
that
been purposely
Kinski
not
had a
checking,
howler, didn't he,
actually.
in the first minute.
Yeah. I've been purposely not checking. Yeah, they won 2-1. Fuck! Fucking stop being so good!
Max.
Fucking hell, honestly.
Tonali played, didn't he, in the game yesterday?
He came on half time. Yeah, played very well, actually. I mean, that's like, we've had both big players from Newcastle playing on the pitch at St Andrews. Like, that is cool to have. That is, considering, again, not had a proper big game in 10 years, and then out of nowhere, Tonali and Isak are on the pitch. Isak could be like one of the best strikers in the world in a few years' time. So God knows, like, that could be amazing. That could be like another Ronaldo type of thing, really, like playing on the pitch at St Andrews. Like, those type of players, it's mental to see, really.
Isak didn't touch the ball, did he? He kind of just came on and stood there, and then the final whistle went.
Yeah. Still thinking about that Tamaki Iwata goal. He says, it was great. Even I wasn't even annoyed from that strike. Man, I wouldn't have been if you guys had scored that as well. Honestly, it was such an amazing hit. I mean, like it was just a pleasure to see. Really, it's just. I mean, like obviously from your perspective, honestly, like you guys have had like Premier League and stuff like that in the last few years, and even though I remember all the stuff with Mike Ashley and Bruce over the years and everything, they like at least they were stuff that was happening and interesting. But like, and as well, you've been in the Championship and you come back up. Mate, honestly, we have not had that, like, not even had a promotion since we got relegated. Like, it was just literally just like the same position every single season. Honestly, it was just so depressing. So like to have that last night against you guys was incredible and fair play, because you gave us a fucking good game to remember as well. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Newcastle fan for the match preview on our end, John, I was kind of comparing both of our journeys in the fact that Newcastle have had that renaissance aligned with new ownership, and I really feel like it does bring new belief, doesn't it, to a place. And I remember that
100%.
First game that Newcastle had after the takeover against Tottenham, where you could just see St James Park had become alive again. And you very much get that impression with Birmingham, with some of our home games that we've had over the last year, where you really get that feel good factor from going to the ground and all the build up before the game as well as during the game as well, where the fans are in great voice. And I feel like kind of Newcastle's journey, obviously now with you guys competing for European football in a cup final as well, hopefully that's where we're going to get to in the next few years if all the stuff with our takeover goes to plan. But it'd be nice to play Newcastle again, hopefully in the same league.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's a minimum of 2 seasons if we make the Premier League now, which is a bit disappointing because obviously if we'd have stayed up last season, we would have only been a season away from a Premier League opportunity. I mean, it's always up for debate. How would we have fared in the Championship this season had we stayed up with the money that we were going to spend? But I think it's given us more time to prepare, really, because like there's an opportunity to look further down the line. There's more time to get things in place, and like that's why I was so pleased with Newcastle, like because if we'd have gotten Spurs or someone like that, I feel like it would have been great opposition. But because they're so flaky and so pathetic, as a team, particularly at the moment, I mean, like they've always been a bit Spursy, but like really at the moment, like they are just like I was saying earlier, they didn't even have a shot against Liverpool. But like, because it was Newcastle and because they're in good form as well. And even though we did play some of their B team, they did play some of their B team players. Tonali came out at half time. It was a great test for us to see where we are. And I feel like, for us being a League One team, it shows how the comparisons are. And we could definitely, if the leagues had to be rearranged today based on current form, I reckon we'd be in that top 20. I absolutely reckon we would be, because there's not many teams out there that are on our level at the moment. So I feel like we would make that top 20. I reckon we would at the moment. On current form, I'm talking about as well, though. Like, not in terms of like.
You're going to get clips up now and put online and go, Tommy Kelso delusional.
I'm getting clips up again. It was bloody brilliant last time.
Yeah, some good players that have played at St Andrews, like before me and Tommy remember and started watching, and that Beckham, Ronaldo, Henry. And I remember actually looking back in the archives and seeing peak Arsenal play at St Andrews. I think there was one goal where they counter-attacked us just from back to front, and it was just in a flash they run on goal and they'd scored. And I suppose coming up against them Arsenal teams would have been quite something. And I think actually the season that they went invincible, we did draw with them at Highbury. I may be mistaken with that. You might be able to fact check that on me, Tommy, but I think we did get a draw with them that season.
I don't know. I think we might have
beat us at St Andrews though.
I think I remember we played. Well, I don't remember, but I know that we played them on the first day of the season when we first got promoted back to the Premier League. I don't know in terms of where we got a draw that season. They drew a couple of games that season, though, didn't they? Arsenal. They didn't lose a game, but they did draw quite a lot in the end. But yeah, hope the player who went off has a quick recovery, says the Newcastle fan here. I imagine Leonard will be back quickly, won't he? It's just it looks like a little bit of a thing at the moment, really. To be honest, I don't think he'll be out for too long.
Yeah. We should go out to Mark Leonard, because I suppose when that tackle came in on a Weta from Hogg at Huddersfield, I thought his season was over. Like when that tackle came in, and I was like really fearing the worst for Weta at that point. So hopefully the tackle is one of the ones that's worse than what it actually is, and Mark Leonard can be back playing football before the end of the season.
I think another thing on the bit of like some of Newcastle fans were talking about like us being like a bit of a thug team last night. I don't think we were. I think that we would, and also as well, if people do want to name us thugs in that way, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that, because like, I mean, if what they're seeing is like just a couple of knockovers and like a couple of, strong challenges, like that's not thuggery, that is, that's just like being physical. And if it like being thugs is like, being incredibly dirty, like pulling, kicking, spitting at people, scratching at them and that. We're not that dirty. I mean, like, like we don't even pull people's shirts, I mean, like the thing with Lyndon Dykes last night when he just sort of nudges him over like that. That's just, it's just a little bit of afters really, and a little bit of a bit of a let him know you're there type of thing, just doing it on purpose. He's not doing it for any malicious intent really, like he's not trying to literally hurt the guy. He's literally just trying to rough him up to create the competition really. So I don't know. I don't think we were thugs at all last night. I think we were just physical, and we needed to be as well because we were playing against some. Like they were so quick last night as well. Newcastle. Like I remember
that one where Asuda dropped the shoulder on Cochrane.
Yeah, he was just gone. Like, and I don't think he's even the quickest player, to be honest. Like he probably is. He's very.
Yeah,
quick.
He can't even get in the Newcastle team.
I know, yeah, but like there's players even quicker than him, and like that's saying something because he was gone like a fucking bullet. He was as well, and they moved as well. I think it was the Murphy chance at the end when Davis cleared it off the line, but the pitch was a bit open. But the way that I think it was Tonali switched the ball, he just and it was gone, and it was like that. And we needed to be physical because like the players just couldn't keep up with like that sort of stuff. We needed to be physical and break the game down and slow it, and then get the ball back and try and hold on to it for a bit because we'd have been run ragged otherwise. And the way that we did handle it in that first half in particular, we were just quality in that way. We were just holding out because we knew that we were up for a challenge in that game. We really were.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple more things. Newcastle, they used to Premier League referees. They would say that. I thought our aggression was on point. Absolutely. I don't think there was anything wrong with that really in terms of the way that we're going about it. I think that they were a bit strong challenge as well. But again, nothing wrong with that, I don't think there's anything wrong with some strong challenges flying in, going in a bit harder and everything. And when, Clara put that nudge over at one point, that was brilliant. I think that was fantastic.
I don't know if you want to have a quick word for the Cambridge game on Tuesday, what you're thinking for that and predictions.
Yeah, we might as well. It's coming up to the hour points. Yeah, we'll wrap up then. We'll talk about the Cambridge game. Yeah, let's go for some predictions. Be sure to get some of your predictions for the Cambridge game on Tuesday night in the chats. Sam, what are we going for? Are we going for a confident win, or are we going for maybe a little bit of a leggy win, just or whatever happens,
I want to refrain from anything typical Blues, right? Because I want to try and put that phrase in the past, yeah. But it does kind of ring a few bells of that, the fact that we're unbeaten in the league at home this season. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory.
2-0 victory.
I reckon there will be some alterations. I reckon that Alfie May will start the game, Lyndon Dykes will start the game, Allsop back in goal as well. Williamson hopefully back to full fitness and starting as well. So I'd like to see them guys involved, and you really hope that the ones that didn't play too many minutes against Newcastle can be the ones that make the difference against Cambridge. And I think that's what stands us in good stead in League One, in the fact that we do have those like-for-like replacements for that level. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Birmingham, and I'll go with May and Williamson goals.
May and Williamson, nice. Yeah, I like that. Sounds like a good positive win, that does. I'd quite like to see players like Hanley get a start. I feel like there could be like a good thing because he played well against Stevenage in the cup the other night. I thought he did well, and we've got good rotation for for the first time in seasons. Honestly, it's fantastic to see. So yeah, there's a couple of people in the chat. Paul was saying 2-0 Blues. Emza was saying 2-1. Jay said 3-0. 3-1. Another guy says made to get 2. I don't know actually. I think if what I believe will happen, I think it might be a 1-0. I gotta be honest, I feel like that's going to be one of those games really, coming off the back of a very hard game and, very taxing game in that way, the physicality and everything and the pace. I mean, when I talk about physicality, I think a lot of people always initially think that it comes to like just strength, but I think a lot of it also comes down to the fact that there's speed that comes in that as well, and that's a massive taxing thing on you when you're running for 90 minutes at full speed. So a few rotations, nothing too much. Still keep Allsop in goal because he didn't play last night, obviously. And yeah, just keep it tight. Nothing stupid. Don't lose the game. Because I mean, obviously, when you say that, it makes you think like you're gonna get a draw or anything. But like, nothing stupid. Keeping things tight. Keep a clean sheet. I will go 2-0 Blues. Why not? We'll go 2-0 Blues. Yeah.
Because, I mean, already this season we've been in a position where we've lost the bottom of the league, and that was that Shrewsbury game. But obviously since the Shrewsbury game, we went on that massive unbeaten run which ended yesterday. So I'm hoping that the players kind of learned quite a bit from that Shrewsbury game about if things don't go our way straight away, then just not to panic and stick to the game plan. Because if we play our game what we usually do at home, then we can beat anybody in this league. So it's just about keeping our calm, staying patient, and just letting the tactics that they've learned and the quality on the ball to do the talking, and hopefully we can pull through and get 3 points and maybe even extend our lead at the top of the League One, because it's looking quite good at the moment, isn't it? With the chasing pack falling ever so slightly. I know that there are teams that are in around the playoff positions picking up points, but that's not near us at the moment. And also to touch on the Virtue Trophy draw as well, where we got Bradford at home, because we avoided the likes of Wrexham, Bolton, Peterborough that are in our league. And on paper, I suppose that's the best draw we could have got, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just the home draw in particular. That's the most important thing out of all of this, really, because had it been away at Wrexham, that would have been incredibly difficult, I think. Or even away at Bolton. Did Bolton get through in the end? Have they even played? Well, I can't remember.
It's a weird kind of thing, because the round of 16 game was played, and now it's the quarter-final game that's been played between Wrexham and Bolton. So they're one behind us. So then the winner of that one will play Peterborough at home.
Yeah, it's a weird schedule, isn't it? I think because of the league as well, they've got to work out the fixtures. But I'm just happy it's a home game, really, because I think we can beat anybody at home at the moment. Like you were saying just then, we haven't lost a home game this season in the league. We've only lost three times at home, technically, in the league.
If you're counting that Walsall game as a loss, then I guess so. But then Newcastle and Fulham, the Premier League teams we lost to at home.
And that's a good record as well, that is as well, this season as well. I mean, that's the thing that you could probably say, like the Newcastle and Fulham teams that we played were B teams. I mean, Stansford was in the Fulham team, so that it's just, I mean, like it's a great thing, because like last season we wouldn't have even had that, So like the fact that we were even making that step forward in a lower league is fantastic, really. So lovely to see and everything, moving forward. So we're both gone 2-0. You said May and Williamson. Oh, I don't know. Well, there's too many players to go around at the moment. I don't know entirely the team. I'd like to see Kieran Dowell get a goal. I feel like he deserves a goal. Be good to see him getting a good reception and everything. He still hasn't got a picture on the board yet, I've noticed. The Blues badge when he comes up. So I thought that'd be quite funny if he scores.
Mystery man.
Yeah, reveal yourself. I'll go Dowell and Ethan Laird. Why not? I mean, I got him right a couple of weeks ago, actually, when we were doing when did he score against? Was it Exeter? It was against at home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was Exeter.
Predicted him to score in that game. That was strange. Paul also says Michael Morrison deserves a great reception on Tuesday night.
Yeah, great one
to
end on, because he's someone that, one of the best captains in my memory at Birmingham. And I mean, he had to put up with a lot of crap, put it that way, with all the stuff that was going on at the backroom team, and obviously the managerial changes and the ownership back then. And he's always someone that come across very level-headed in a Birmingham shirt, and a great leader of men as well. And he will get a good reception at the ground. And Gary Monk, as their manager, is not doing too well with Cambridge at the moment, but someone that done a good job with Blues for the season. He was our manager, also had to put up with some crap as well, with Dongren turning up in the tracksuit and point deductions as well. So good luck to both of them besides Tuesday. And hopefully we get 3 points.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening into this quick impromptu Blues Focus podcast. We will be back in the next few weeks. We're going to just try and stick to this format. We've been trying to make it a bit more glitz and glam, really. I think it just needs to keep it a little bit more simple, get this podcast out as much as regularly as possible, and get your guys' thoughts and everything. Fat Dan, that guy's name is. I often look at people, because obviously this is YouTube, and I remember doing this, but like, I remember back in the day when you first started making YouTube channels, you just put your gamer tag in it, so that's why everybody's names.
Yeah, and there's always got to be like an X and an underscore.
I know,
as
well. Oh yeah, but thanks for making me feel old, lads. Fucking hell.
Sorry about that.
It happens to the best of us, lads. Honestly, it really does. I turned around yesterday and I thought, bloody hell. Last time I had a big game down at St Andrews, I would have probably been 8 years old. Honestly, I was thinking, well, like, that feels like yesterday. That does, when we were playing teams in the Premier League, and it happens to us all. But very good though. It's nice to have some good football back. Nice to have some fantastic atmosphere as well. Blues fans out there, absolute best. Cheers, lads! You saved me from Strictly. That's not on anymore, is it? Unless they're
it's Dancing on Ice, isn't it? So it's a form of dancing.
Of
but, yeah.
Strictly on Ice. That's what they might as well call it. Yeah, to say me some Strictly. I'm
Thanks for
exactly the
listening,
same.
Paul.
Thank God the bloody, thank God the football's on when Strictly's on. My mum absolutely loves it. Can't stand the bloody show. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back very shortly. Jay and Paul and everyone, thank you all guys for listening. Thank you, Sam, as well. I almost forgot to thank you. I was remembering.
Yeah, thank you to you as well,
Something
Tommy.
on there.
Fantastic vlog that you put out during the game,
Appreciate it,
and
man.
obviously had the stuff with Talksport in the morning. So yeah, Blues
Oh,
Focus, a
God,
really
yeah.
productive day for us yesterday as well. And
I completely forgot
yeah,
about that.
great
How
bit of
was that?
exposure. Yeah, really good. I mean, it was an early start. It was 7 a.m. that I done the interview with Natalie Saw and Tony Cascarino. And the last time that I spoke to them was after, well, it's actually the day that we got relegated. And it was previewing the day on a whole. And at that point, obviously, we started the day in the relegation positions. And I was thinking that someone above us was going to drop points, but they didn't. And we were relegated in the end. But yeah, speaking to them this time in a lot happier mood, and yeah, fantastic to speak about how well Birmingham are doing at the moment on and off the pitch. And yeah, a fantastic chance at Blues Focus to be able to, you know, speak on Talksport to people like that. And yeah, I think there's more coming on that front soon, which we won't reveal yet, but yeah, more coming in the future.
Yeah, top stuff, man. Honestly, yeah, it's great to see. We have got stuff coming up with Talksport very soon. We've got a vlog coming out very soon. We just need to liaise with them and find out when to put it out and everything. But all the stuff is finished for that. So that'll be a nice little mini vlog that we can bring to you guys from the day that we went down to Talksport. It was very cool, very fun, very good fun, and you guys will also be able to see a little bit more of that in the upcoming months. I'll have to ask you, Sam, after we finish the call, but I can't remember when everything's meant to be going out, isn't it? I think it's soon, isn't it? Because they want things to go out as quickly as possible.
I think first round soon. Well, I won't say any more, but yeah, it involves rounds and it involves a cup.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you for tuning into the Blues Focus podcast with me, Tommy Castle, and Sam Sheppey. Thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure as usual, and keep right on.
Keep right on, guys.